Hey everybody, how's it going? Just wanted to, well, kind of go over a couple things here. I'm doing this build thread, you see, on one of the forums, and it occurred to me that I've got some pictures, but you know, it's probably time to do some video. I've also got something that I want to unbox today because, well, I have 10 days to check it out, or I got to buy whatever's in there. So if there's a problem, ain't gonna happen. So I do want to check it out. Gonna do that. Gonna unbox it so you can see it's the On 3 turbo kit for the Foxbody. So I want to see. I got the upgraded stainless steel exhaust, the regular standard turbo, and pretty much standard stuff from there. But we're gonna take a look at it and see if it's all there. In the meantime, though, I wanted to show you a couple things here. For one thing, you can kind of see behind me the car. Okay, I'm calling it the Hudson Heap. It's back there behind some of those. The reason I'm calling it the Hudson Heap is I bought it in Hudson, Florida, and well, it ain't great. Body's not great. It's got some rust, etc., etc. I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm building this for fun, so this is all about the smiles, not about the looks. This is my property out here. I have a 40 by 60 workshop I have it in. But what happened a couple of, well, maybe a week or two ago now is I ended up looking at Facebook Marketplace, and like we do so often, I ran across a deal. Okay, so I got like a $7,000 budget that I'm working on right now with this thing. And I can go a little bit more if I want to, out of my own pocket sort of thing. But we set aside $7K. That's where a lot of this came from. Well, what happened is I took a look at this car. It was online on Marketplace. They were asking $2,000 for it. And I was like, okay, you know, and I looked at it. Had two engines, two transmissions, and it was an 89 GT. I was like, okay, so the pictures didn't look too bad. Talked to the guy a little bit. It was about 4 hours away, so I decided, okay, if we're going to do this, it's a bit of a haul. So I had to rent a U-Haul trailer, and I said, okay, $1,500 and we'll do it. Well, I got there, and here's the car. So this is it. It's an 89 GT. Now, don't mind the fact it has no front springs in it. I'm not even sure what's going on with the back. It looks fair. I suppose fair to middling. When I looked at it. But then when I got here, now I knew it had some rust inside. I wasn't too worried about it. But let's see if the door's still open. Yeah. So, I mean, not too horribly bad, except when we started getting down into some of these little areas here, and I can basically put my finger through there. That's the door jamb. I don't know if it's going to show up or not. Back seat is full of spare parts. It's a 5.0 from a 95, one of them, along with the stock motor. So I have both intakes, all kinds of stuff. And I figure, you know what, I can use a lot of this stuff on there. I need like some switches on the dash. I need this little cowl piece here that's like $50. The hood I needed, and frankly, we put the hood on for the trip back, and I can't get it open again, but I haven't worked real hard on it. But you can see, I mean, it's a little rough around here. I'm probably going to end up parting this out. Now, the worst part, you can't see it, the floorboard down here in the passenger side, that floorboard is just rotted out. So it's a bit of a mess. We're not going to mess with that a little bit. You can see some of the rust back here. This hatch is pretty much shot. Yeah, it opens, sort of. So this is some of the other stuff that's in it. Now, what was interesting is this thing came with a whole bunch of brand new parts that he had bought and had forgotten about. There's, I think, a full gasket kit in here. There's like all kinds of stuff. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. But, God, this hatch is bad, man. But anyways, now this is my parts car. And it had the 95 engine. The engine that was in the old car, it kind of ran. It ran like hell. It's an 87 GT in the Heap. But I think what's happened is that poor engine, The intake bolts, one of them's broken off. It was loose. Exhaust was broken. I mean, it was in, somebody tried to do something and it just didn't work out very well. So what I did is picked up this 95 motor, and I think I'm going to use it because when I pulled the heads on that motor there, an 87 should have been forged. Not so lucky. It's been rebuilt. There's a Jasper engine sticker on the front. It's 40 over and cast pistons. So I thought, you know, rather than mess around with that, I'll use this nice 95. So here's the 95. I just pulled the heads off today. Doesn't look bad. I think they went through and like tried to scrub that up a little bit. We'll see. I thought about a lot of things here, folks. And one of the things I thought about was whether I was going to mess with a new cam and stuff. But I decided, since I'm turboing it and after some of the feedback from the forums, that I'm not going to actually do that. So what I do have is a set of GT40P heads, which one of them is over there in the tank, one of them is on a shelf over there or whatever. I'm going to go through those, put in some new springs. I'm doing head studs on this. I'm going to put it back together and we're going to throw some boost on it, see what happens. So a major problem with the Hudson Heap was it had a blown transmission. Like, I know it's bad. I know the clutch is bad. Okay, cool. But it popped out of first constantly, wouldn't go into second. That could have been the clutch, but the popping out and stuff, just didn't feel it on that transmission. What I wanted to do is I was going to go through that transmission. But as luck would have it, when I picked up that parts car, it came with two transmissions. Now, the guy said the transmission that was originally in that 89, the second gear sync row was shot. But it came with the 95 transmission, and I said 95, which all I have to do is swap the input shaft on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So these are the transmissions, both the bell housings. So the one in the back there is the 89, and the one in the front here is the 95. I'll probably pop the top and take a look at it, see how things are looking. But for the most part, I think this is going to work out pretty good. So the engine that was in the 89, what happened is they bought this car cheap and they just ragged on it for a few hours and then it died, okay? That was their idea, was they were going to have just a beater car. Well, they beat on it and very quickly it failed them. Well, it blew a head gasket. And it blew a head gasket to the point that it was like, they said as they poured water in it, it was coming out the tailpipe. So that's a pretty significant blown head gasket. This is the motor that was in it. Okay, so clearly this sat around and got a little rusty and stuff, right? Now most of that is like rust on grease. I don't even know, man. I'm from Arizona where things don't rust like this. But I have this to work from also. I think they're E7 heads, no big deal. But I decided that this one wasn't worth messing with. We'll see how it cleans up. I don't know, it could be a parts block or something later, but for right now, not gonna happen. Now, the spare parts that came with it, got this clutch kit here that came with it. There's some boxes of parts here. This is like water pumps, exhaust, all kinds of stuff. Came with a fancy little China shifter there. This is new engine and transmission mounts, like all kinds of parts. And he was nice enough to take and bag up all of the bolts and stuff when he took it off. So yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be a bit of a project. And I'm not going to show the car right now, but I will later on, maybe in another video, if you guys like this video. Okay, we'll see how that goes. So this is the engine that came out of the 89, the Heap. Now you'll see in the cylinders, don't worry about that. It was starting to kind of surface rust, so I just sprayed it with some dry lube just to keep that down. I dropped the oil pan today. They're definitely cast pistons, 40 over. It doesn't look bad other than that, but I think I'm gonna go with those Hyper E Technics, not worry about it being over. And apparently that motor supposedly worked well. If you like engine hoists, let me tell you, tractors are pretty good. And there's the old transmission that came out of the Heap. So that one's got lots of issues, I think. Okay, so the Heap's behind me here. You can kind of get a little shot in the back of it. What's really cool is what's in this box, which I'm going to unbox eventually. This is a Holley Terminator X. Got the 550-937, which is not the 937F, which has a Foxbody wiring, but we're gonna work on that a little bit. It's gonna mean some sensors and things like that. So follow me. I'm gonna be doing that kind of stuff as well. It'll be an interesting ride with that. But hey. And last but not least are some extra things. These kind of came off of the old one. Had these fancy Ford-powered. These are actually polished, and I think they'll polish up again real nice. This is just kind of my parts bin and stuff with it. This is one of the GT40P heads that came with it. I put one of my BBK headers on there just to see if it'll fit. But now that we're doing the turbo kit, it really doesn't matter. I don't care if it fits or not. So, looking forward to that.